Renesas Synergy ISDE how-to video, the RTOS Configurator. In this video, we will show you and briefly discuss the RTOS configuration window. Every ThreadX-based Synergy project includes at least one RTOS thread and a stack of SSP modules running in that thread. The Threads tab is a graphical user interface which helps you to add the right modules to a thread and configure the properties of both the threads and the modules associated with each thread. Once you have configured the thread, the ISDE automatically generates the code reflecting your configuration choices. For any driver, or more generally any module that you add to a thread, the ISDE automatically resolves all dependencies with other modules and creates the appropriate stack. This stack is displayed in the Threads pane, which the ISDE populates with the selected modules and module options for the selected thread. If there is more than one module that can fulfill a dependency requirement, the ISDE prompts you to choose a module from a drop-down menu. The RTOS configuration window is important if you use an RTOS with your project. The window carries many attributes for configuration, and we will touch on these in the presentation. First, after launching E² Studio, we will start by creating a new project and select, in this case, the S7G2SK BSP, which doesn't include the RTOS enabled. On the BSP tab in the configuration window, we will scroll all the way down to the bottom and select the RTOS being used item, and select the ThreadX option. Now we will click on the Threads tab of the configuration window. This is the RTOS configuration window. In here, we see an area to add threads, IP stacks, frameworks, and the objects like queues, semaphores, etc. The default view of the Threads tab includes a common thread called HAL/common. This thread includes the drivers for I/O control, I/O port, clock generation circuit, CGC, and the event link controller, ELC. The default stack is shown in the HAL/common stacks pane. The default modules added to the HAL/common thread are special, in that the SSP only requires a single instance of each, which the ISD then includes in every user-defined thread by default. In applications that do not use an RTOS or run outside of the RTOS, the HAL/common thread becomes the default location where you can add additional drivers to your application. The Threads tab also includes dependency checking. This means that if you are adding a framework or a hardware abstraction layer driver to your project, the user interface will prompt you with the requirements. We will start by adding a new thread here. The Properties window will be shown here for you to make changes that will be reflected in your code and operation of modules. In this case, we will edit some of the names before we start adding frameworks and/or drivers. We will add the GUIX on GX. In many cases, when you add a framework and it has other dependencies, they will be automatically brought in. As in this case, you can see many items are added. As you can see here, if there is an issue that needs to be manually resolved or configured, you will see red text in the modules box. Now if you click on that box, it will bring in the Properties window for editing this component. If you move your cursor away from this component and then move it back over the component, you will see a pop-up that lets you know what needs to be changed. In the Objects Property window, you will also be able to configure many aspects of the framework or drivers used in the application. We can add drivers and other frameworks at any time during the creation of our project. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope it has provided the information that will help you use the RTOS configurator. We suggest that you watch the videos on the Messaging Framework Configurator and adding XWare sources to a project.